Hello everybody. Happy Friday. My name's Amanda. This is Barre Sculpt. So what we'll need today is a set of light weights. If you have them, you can also use water bottles. I've seen people use candles, soup cans, and then a ball. I'm using two different ones because one's a little bit more deflated than the other. You can also use a block, a book, maybe a pillow if you don't have a ball, or just use your body weight on either option. Let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up. Standing, nice high knees. Feel free to set your watches if you're tracking your workout. Nice high knees here. Big inhales, big exhales. Really using your lower abs to get your knees nice and high. We're going to take it over to a side stretch. Same arm, same leg, long in opposite directions. Really elongating that side body. Reach your fingertips, reach your toes. Give me one more on each side. And then come from a standing position, alternating hip opener. Bring that knee up and over to the opposite hip. And then coming into a side lunge. Come on down to a low wide squat. Feet are wide, your hips toe turned out. Sink your hip down so your knees are tracking out over your toes. Reach your arms out by your side. Reach down, tapping the opposite inside ankle. Chin and chest stays lifted. Core is engaged. And then standing from an upright position, shoulders stacked over your hips. Arms forward in a windmill motion. Chest is lifted. And then go ahead and reverse the direction. Warming up your shoulders here, warming up your upper body. Keeping your hips nice and low. Slightly hinge forward at your waist. Give yourself a nice big hug. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together as you open up the arms. Bringing your fingertips towards the ceiling. Give me a few more good swings here. And then come on down to a runner's lunge. Left leg forward. Pressing into that left knee. Not letting it pass your toes. Opening up your right hip on this side, chin and chest stays lifted. Starting your front left leg as you draw your hips back. Maybe pointing, flex your toes. And then gently switching sides when you're ready. Big step forward with your right foot. Opening up your left hip on this side. Being mindful not to let your right knee pass your toes. Go ahead and draw your hips back on your next breath. Maybe pointing, flex your right toes. Come on up to a standing position. Roll your shoulder blades back. Roll your shoulder blades forward. Grab a sip of water. Shake out anything additional that you may need. And we're going to come right into our workout here. Go ahead and grab your weights. Bring the ball between your thighs. Feet are hip width apart and parallel. We're going to have our feet flat. From here, palms are facing up. We have an alternating heel raise with a bicep curl. So your arms stay close into your side. Your palms are facing upwards. Your chest is lifted. Chin lifted off of your chest. Relax your eyebrows. Alternating heel lifts with a bicep curl. If you're using that ball between your thighs, squeeze that ball. Keeping it going. Core is nice and engaged. Keeping it going here. A few more just like this. Slow and controlled. Maybe coming higher on your tippy toes. Raising that heel even higher. Standing on the ball of your foot as your opposite foot lowers. Keeping it going. All right. Feel free to adjust that ball if it slides down from here. Palms are facing inward, still with that ball between your thighs. Feet remain hip width apart and parallel. Palms are facing in. We have both heels raised and lower with the hammer curl. Your shoulders stay stacked over your hips. You want to focus on just your lower body moving, working the tops of your thighs. Bonus calf work here with the heel raises and lowers. Your upper body stays completely still. Keeping it going. So if you're looking from your core up towards the crown of your head, it does not look like you're moving. Just your heels raise and lower. Your hips stay nice and low. Keeping it going. Still going. Still moving. We're going to drop those weights. Give me one more wherever you're at. Release your heels. Gently set the weights down. From here, go ahead and grab the ball between your palms. From here, we're going to draw our feet hip width apart and parallel. We're going to take your right foot, ball between your palms, elbows are wide. We're going to step back and forward as we squeeze the ball. So your elbows are lifted. Just your right leg steps forward and steps back, keeping a soft bend in your standing left knee. Squeeze the ball as you step back, drawing it back in towards your body. Just the right toes tap back. Come back to center. Keeping it going, moving here with control. You got this. Still going, still moving. Keeping it going. Right foot steps back and steps forward. We're going to add some movement here. We're going to hold that right leg back. Hold the squeeze between the ball. From here, we're going to come into a curtsy as we lift the ball overhead. So the ball stays between your palms. As you raise the arms up overhead, you're drawing that right leg back towards the diagonal into a curtsy lunge. Working the inner and outer thighs. Your left foot is grounded into the ground, all the way from your big pinky toe out towards your big toe on the left side, back towards your heel. Core remains engaged. Right foot steps back towards diagonal and then back up again. Keeping it going. Almost there. A few more just like this. Arms overhead as you come into that curtsy. Keeping that deep bend in your standing left knee. Give me one more wherever you're at. Go ahead and hold the right leg out to the side. Arms stay overhead, still with the ball between your palms. We're going to lift that right leg as we squeeze the ball. So your biceps are in towards your ears. Right leg lifts, maybe gently tapping back down. You can also hold it to a hover the entire time, working that outer right hip pocket here. Arms stay overhead, maybe squeezing that ball, that pillow, that block, maybe that imaginary object, whatever you have today. Still grounding through the base of your left foot. You can have a micro bend in the knee. You can also have that leg completely straight. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Tiny lift and lower of that right leg. Your arms are straighter up overhead. Biceps towards your ears. Keeping it going. Give me one more. Go ahead and bring it back to center. Shake it out. We're going to bring the arms out in front, so your arms are straight out in front. Now we have the left side. Squeeze the ball as you step that left leg back. Core remains engaged. Upper body is not moving. From the crown of your head down towards your navel is completely still. Engage your abs. Keeping it going. Stepping back. Still going. Still moving. Almost there. Yes, you can. You got this. Moving with control, moving with intention. Of course, you can grab a sip of water at any time if you need it. Just the left leg steps back. Come back to center. Keeping it going. We're going to add some movement into that curtsy lunge with the left leg and bring the arms up overhead simultaneously. Go ahead and hold the left leg, step back, squeeze that ball still. We're going to raise the arms up overhead as we come into that curtsy. So same motion, except our arms are away from our chest, far from our body. Left toes tap back, left toes tap to the curtsy, keeping that deep bend and your standing front right leg. Core remains engaged. Moving with control, slow it down. We're not going for speed on these. You got this. Ball remains between your palms, arms straighter. Still going. Almost there. You got this. We're going to add those side lifts coming up next. Give me a few more wherever you're at. Left leg steps back, Left leg to the curtsy, arm reach up overhead. Give me one more, wherever you're at. Go ahead and come back to center. Hold the arms up overhead. Left leg stays out to the side. We're going to squeeze that ball as we lift that left leg out to the side. This time, working that outer left hip, simultaneously squeezing that ball between your palms. Biceps are close in towards your ears. Hands straighter. You got this. Keeping it going. Keeping it moving. Yes, you can. Left leg raise and lower. Squeeze the ball between your palms. Arms stay up overhead. Arms are completely still. Keeping it going. Feeling that slight pinch as you lift the left leg directly out from the left hip. Give me one more wherever you're at. All right, go ahead and come on down to a kneeling stance. We're going to swap that ball out for your weights again. Keep the ball close by though. From here, come to a kneeling stance. Extend your right leg long. The outer right foot is glued into the ground. Grab both weights, one in each hand. Weights are together. We're going to reach down to the outer left knee. Reach up and over for a halo and down towards the right foot. So you're making that little graceful ribbon with your hands as you come back to a single leg kneeling position. Just made up that turn there, single leg kneeling position. You're going to wrap those weights around your head. Core stays engaged. So you're working your core here. You're working those obliques by bending over to the side and then keeping everything tight as you bring the arms up overhead. Give me one more on each side. From here, set the weight down from your right hand. We're going to go ahead and draw our right hand down towards our right ankle, maybe your right calf. Weight stays in your left hand. We're going to reach the left arm up overhead and then cactus those arms, pulling your left elbow down towards your left hip. Palms are facing away from your body. Chest is lifted. So if you look at yourself from the left or right side, it's as if your body is in one single plane. Keeping it going. Left arm reaches up overhead and then pulling your bicep down, pulling your elbow towards your left hip. Keeping it going. Palms are facing away. Almost there. You got this. Still going. Still moving. Go ahead and grab that second weight from here. We have wide arm presses. So grabbing that second weight, still with your right arm out to the side, we have a wide arm press. Chest stays lifted. Grounding through your left knee. You can have the top shoelace portion of your left foot pressed firmly into the floor. Your outer right foot is pressed into the ground. Straight right leg. Keeping it going. Shoulder press. Palms are facing outward again. You got this. Slow and controlled movement here. Still going. Still moving. Almost there. Give me a few more wherever you're at. Yes, you can. Wide arm shoulder press. Knuckles up towards the ceiling. Elbows come parallel towards your shoulders. Give me one more. All right, set the left weight down. Go ahead and draw your left wrist directly under your left shoulder. We're going to reach our right arm up overhead with or without that weight. That right leg stays extended. Your left knee is directly under your left hip. Right arm reaches up. We're going to reach the right arm under and through and then up towards the ceiling. So we're in assisted side plank as we reach up towards the ceiling, under and through the left side of your body. Imagine there's someone behind you handing you something and you're eagerly trying to grab it with your right hand, reaching further each time. Controlled movements here. Right arm reaches up, right arm reaches under and through. Still going, still moving. Keeping it going. We're going to add that leg movement next. Give me one more wherever you're at. Go ahead and draw the right arm back up. We're going to draw that right arm over towards your head, so right bicep to right ear. We're going to lift the right arm and right leg towards one another and then extend opposite directions. So straight arm, straight leg, just the right side of your body is moving. Fingertips down towards your right toes, maybe reaching for your right knee, your right calf, your right ankle, whatever you can. Right fingertips towards your right toes, tap down, come back up. Keeping it going. Almost there. We're going to hold that right leg lifted. Next, you still got a few more on this side. Core is engaged. Right hip stacks directly over the left. Give me one more. And then we're going to hold that right leg lifted. Straight right leg. Flex the foot. You can place the hand or your weight on your right hip. Tiny circles here. It does not matter which direction you go. We will switch halfway. Small direction, tiny circles, keeping it going. Clockwise or counterclockwise, it does not matter. Moving that right leg, toes are flexed. Still going. Still moving. All right, we're halfway. Switch directions. Opposite direction of what you were just doing. Tiny circles. Maybe with or without that weight. Get that leg straighter. Try to get that leg even higher. Keeping it going. A few more on this side. We're going to come back to our kneeling stance and work the left side. Give me one more big circle. All right, go ahead and release that right leg down. Go ahead and grab your second weight. We're going to extend that left leg out to the side so your right knee is pressed into the floor. Top shoelace portion of your right foot is also pressed into the floor. Your outer left side is pressed into the ground. One weight in each hand, hands together. Tap down towards the outside right knee. Wrap your arms up and over, and then hands down towards your left toe. So we're alternating the direction, working both directions on both sides. As you draw the arms up overhead, keep the core engaged. Keeping everything nice and tight. Slow and controlled movements here. Keeping it going. Arms wrap up overhead. Reach down for the outside right knee. Arms up overhead in opposite direction. Hands down towards your left toes. Give me one more in each direction. And then we're going to release that right hand down. Go ahead and release that right. Go ahead and release the left hand down. Place your left hand towards your left toes. We're going to reach our left arm or right arm up toward the bicep. And my left and right's mixed up here. Right arm up overhead. Draw that elbow down. Palm is facing away. Chest stays nice and lifted. Avoid really pressing the weight of your body through your left hand into your left knee. You want to keep your hand on your calf, maybe on your thigh, on your hip. Trying to keep your shoulders stacked on top of each other. Your hips are in the same plane, so we're not opening up our hips here. They're both facing forward. Keeping it going. We're going to release that right hand down after a few more on the right side. Right arm extends, right arm pulls down. Give me one more wherever you're at. Go ahead and release that right hand down, right hand directly under your shoulder. Weight is in your left hand. From here, we're going to extend our left arm up towards the ceiling. Reach under and through the right side body, and then your left arm up toward the ceiling again. Maybe you have a nice crack along your spine here. Not forcing it, just a smooth movement, but do try to reach further. Always challenging yourself, but knowing the limits of your own body. This workout is for you. Remembering what you want to get out of your workout today. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling, palms facing away from your body, and then left hand reaches under and through the right side body. Keeping it going. We're going to add that leg lift coming up next. Left arm reaches up overhead, under and through. Give me one more full stretch and reach. Left arm back up towards the ceiling. Go ahead and draw left arm overhead, passing the crown of your head. Left bicep to left ear. We're going to lift the left leg as we simultaneously draw the left fingertips down towards the left toes. Reaching for your toes, reaching for your ankle, your knee, your thigh, or your hip, whatever you can today. Keeping it going. That weight remains in your right knee and your right wrist, balancing between the two. Avoid putting all the weight on either one, your knee or your wrist. Equal balance. Left fingertips towards your left toes as your left leg lifts higher. Left leg straighter. Core is engaged. Left hip stacks directly over your right hip. Keeping it going. Moving with control. Moving with intention. Give me one more. Hold that left leg lifted. You can place your left hand on your hip with or without the weight. Flex the foot, straight left leg. Tiny circles. Tiny movements here. Just a little circle. Again, it does not matter which direction. We will do both, keeping everything nice and symmetrical. Keeping it going. Moving with control. Tiny circle. All right, you know what time it is. We're halfway. Switch directions. Maybe get that leg straighter. Maybe flex that foot even more. Maybe one side or one direction feels slightly more challenging. That is completely fine and totally normal. Keep it going. Maybe get that leg higher, straighter. Flex the toes more. Keep it going. All right, go ahead and release that left leg down. We're going to come onto our right side, propping our body up on our right elbow. We're going to draw our knees to a 90-90. So our right knee is out in front of our right hip. Our left knee is directly out from our left hip. From here, go ahead and grab a ball. Let me restart our timer here so we get the full minute. Making sure we get all of our workout. So place the ball, your block, your pillow, or your imaginary object behind your top back left leg. From here, you can just go ahead and draw your right hand down, your left hand behind your head, whatever you like. I'm just going to lift and lower that top left leg. So your left knee taps, maybe it taps, maybe it just comes close. You can also prop your upper body up slightly higher by coming onto your right wrist. Just remember, the higher your upper body is, the less range of motion your lower body is going to have. So you're going to feel that slight pinch in your outer left hip. That is expected. We want that. We want to feel the burn. You can also come down onto your left forearm, allowing your knee to come maybe hip height, maybe slightly higher. You're going to, again, feel that pinch in your outer left hip, regardless if you're on your right forearm or if you're on your right wrist. Keeping it going. Keeping your left heel close into your seat, strong point through your left toes. Your right side is nice and relaxed. Avoid pressing off of your right side. We'll get to that side next. Just let it relax and maybe wiggle your right toes. Still lifting and lowering that top left knee. Give me one more wherever you're at, holding that left leg nice and lifted. Flex the foot this time, press back, and then come forward. So tiny presses back. We're working that outer left glute on this side. Pressing it back. Maybe your left knee is parallel to your hip. Maybe it's higher if you're a little bit more flexible in your hip joints. Maybe it's a little bit lower and you're just hovering that ground. Wherever you're at, doing what you can today. Tiny presses back. You're drawing that left knee directly back in line with your hip, and then you're pressing it back further behind you. You're still keeping your left heel close in towards your glutes, allowing that ball or that imaginary object to stay close in behind your left knee. Tiny presses back here. Keeping it going. Little presses back. We've got a few more here. All right, hold that left leg back and lifted. We have tiny pulses. So your left knee is further back from your left hip. You're really going to feel that pinch. If you have to relax your leg down and then come back into it, that is perfectly fine. We will still be here waiting for you. Keeping it going, tiny lifts. Your left toes are still flexed, tiny pulses. So again, your left hip is not in line or forward, it's back behind your leg. Tiny pulses here, feeling that burn, keeping it going. Almost there. We're going to add that movement back into our left leg very soon. Keeping it going. Left toes flexed. Left knee is lifted or slightly hovering the floor. Tiny lifts here. Give me a few more pulses as high as you can. Hold that leg lifted. We're going to slide that knee forward and then back in line with the hip. So same thing here. Imagining that your knee is sliding across a table and then drawing it back. So your knee comes up towards your chest and then draws back in line with your hip, still with your heel close in towards your glutes. Your left foot is flexed. Your right leg is completely relaxed. Keeping it going, forwards and backwards. You can also lay all the way down onto your right side, still moving that top left leg. Left leg extends straight back. So it's almost as if you don't have that ball behind your knee and your left toes are directly back behind your head and then knee up. Give me one more full range of motion here. Left knee stays lifted and then grab that ball, shake it out, and you know it. We've got the other side. So set it up for the right side. 90-90 legs. So your left knee is on the bottom. It's directly out in front of you from your left hip. Your right knee is also bent at 90 and your right knee is out from the side of your right hip. Grab that ball, place it behind your right knee, and then squeeze your right heel close in towards your glutes, either from your left wrist or coming down onto your forearm. We're just going to lift and lower that right leg. So maybe your right knee taps, maybe it just comes close. This is a great opportunity to let that left leg relax. It just did so much work. Enjoy the relaxation as you work the right side. Now there'll be no secrets. You know what to expect from the exact same thing, keeping everything nice and symmetrical. Full range of motion. Right knee taps down towards the floor or it comes close. And then lifts back up towards the ceiling, working that outer right hip. Right toes are pointed, right foot close in towards your glutes, keeping that ball just where it's at. Your right knee is directly out in line from your right hip. Keeping it going, raise and lower. You got this. Still going, still moving, whether you're on your left wrist or left forearm. Give me one more and hold that right leg lifted about hip height from here. Flex the foot, draw the knee back, and then drop back in line. So tiny range of motion. Maybe if you look down at your right knee and your right heel, you can't even tell it's moving, but you can feel it. You're tensing those muscles. You're strengthening even if you don't physically see it moving. Squeezing your glute. Keeping it going, whether you are on your right forearm, you can lay all the way down and really take that weight off of the left side, keeping the focus in your right top hip. You can also work from a more upright position with your left hand down on the floor. Your right toes are flexed. Your right heel is so close in towards your glutes. You're pressing that right knee back and then bringing it forward. Go ahead and hold that right leg back. You know what's coming. Hold that right knee back, further behind your hip, and tiny pulses here. Still with the right toes flexed. Your core is engaged. You can come on down to your left side. Imagine you're just laying at the beach, relaxing. Avoid putting any kind of pressure or tensing that left side. Remember, that left side already did the same thing. It now gets to relax. Maybe wiggle out your left toes, still lifting that right leg, keeping it going. Tiny lift, tiny lower. Yes, you can. Almost there. Tiny lifts, and you're keeping that right toe flexed, right heel close in towards your glutes. Tiny lift, tiny lower. We're going to add that full range of motion next. Tiny lifts here. Right knee stays back behind your hip. Go ahead and hold that leg lifted. We're going to draw that right knee up towards your right shoulder and then extend it back. Full range of motion. So your right knee comes up towards your right shoulder. Maybe it taps. Maybe it just comes close. And then right knee back in line with your hip. Keep it going. Core is engaged. Full range of motion here. We're going to come laying onto our back next. So enjoy this work on the outer right glute. Continuing. Moving with control. Full range of motion. Right knee up towards your right chest. Right knee out in line from your right hip. Toes are still flexed. Your right heel close in towards your glute, holding on to that ball, that block, that pillow, whatever you have behind your right knee, or imagining what you have behind your right knee. Give me one more full range of motion. And then go ahead and release that ball from your right leg. All right, still with that ball. We're going to restart our timer here. So once again, so we get that full minute in each move. Still with that ball. Place it on top of your right ankle. And then place it on the back side of your left ankle. So your legs are staggered. Your legs are straight. Point the toes. So the ball is underneath your left Achilles and on top of your right ankle. From here, you can be more of an upright position. You can be on your forearms or lay all the way back. We're just going to raise and lower the ball. Raising and lowering. That left leg stays directly over the right. Raising as high as you can. Going as low as you can as well. Thinking here, either on your back, on your forearms, or propped up on your wrist with your fingertips facing towards your bum, legs raised, legs lower, legs going as far as you can, keeping it going. The lower your legs go, the more challenging it is. Still going, still moving. Left leg on top of right. You got this. Raise and lower. Point the toes more. Legs straighter. Core is engaged. Wherever you're at, hold that right leg to a hover. We're going to roll the right knee, bending it as we roll the ball up towards your knee and then roll it back out. So your right leg is hovering. The lower your right leg is, the more challenging it is. You can, of course, always raise your legs to the diagonal. You can roll all the way back and raise your right leg up towards the ceiling, drawing your right knee up towards your chest, and then rolling it back out. So just the left leg is moving, rolling that ball up toward your toes, and then down towards your right knee. Core is engaged. Lower back is pressed into the ground. If you're laying all the way down, looking up towards the ceiling, your navel pulled into your spine, whether you are on your back, on your forearms, or on your wrist. Keeping it going. The lower, straighter that right leg is, the more challenging it's going to be. Give me one more full rollout. Once you get there, keeping both legs straight, we're going to alternate right over left, left over right. Keeping it going. And of course, same thing here. The lower your legs are, the more challenging it is. You can raise your legs up to diagonal. If you went towards the ceiling, you're squeezing your ankles together so you're keeping that ball in place. Moving here, rolling that ball underneath your left and then underneath your right. Keeping it going. Still going. Still moving. Maybe you need to readjust it. If so, please do so. Stronger point through your toes, straighter legs. All right, next one. Hold that left leg over the right. Reach to that side. Hold your right leg over the left. Or the one with the left leg on top. All right, so your right leg is on top of your left. Legs are straight. Strong point through your toes. Raise and lower your legs. So the lower you go, the more challenging it is. You can always lower it just halfway, about 45 degrees. You can also just move it an inch or two, holding your legs more vertical up towards the ceiling. Core is engaged. Your lower back is pressed deep into the floor if you're laying down flat, regardless of what position you're in, laying down flat on your back, on your wrists, or on your forearms. You want to think about pulling your navel into your spine. Your core is engaged. Next one, wherever you're at, hold it as low as you can. That left leg stays straight. Roll the ball up the left shin with your right foot and then back out. So your right leg stays directly over the left. Your core remains engaged. Keeping it going here. Still going. Still moving. Just the right leg is moving. Try to get that left leg straighter. Try to get that left leg lower. Just a few more moves here, and we're going to come all the way on our back if you're not already there. Keeping it going. Right leg, knee bends. Right leg, knee straightens. So bending and extending into that right knee, rolling that ball out. Keeping it going. Give me one more full range of motion. As you draw that ball back towards your left ankle, go ahead and grab that ball. From here, we're going to place the ball under our left knee. We're going to draw our heels close in towards our glutes. We're going to place our palms down by our sides. We're going to lift our hips as we simultaneously draw that left knee up towards our left shoulder, and then tap our hips down as we gently tap our left toes back down. So your right foot stays completely grounded. You're lifting your hips. Your hips stay parallel to one another. As you simultaneously lift your hips, you're drawing your left knee up towards your chest. Your shoulders stay grounded into the floor. Avoid drawing your body into a full bridge or a wheel position. Your palms are pressed firmly into the ground next to your hips. Your core is engaged. You're lifting your hips even higher, drawing your left knee closer towards your left shoulder. Give me one more wherever you're at. Left knee to left shoulder. Go ahead and tap your hips back down. Remove the ball from your left knee. Place your left knee down. Place the ball behind your right knee. Same thing on the right side. Lifting your hips as you simultaneously draw the right knee up towards the right shoulder. Grounding through, your left foot is pressed firmly into the earth. All the way from your big toe to your pinky, all the way back towards your heel. Right knee in towards your right shoulder as your hips lift and lower, gently tapping your right toes into the floor. Imagine that your hips are headlights and they're in the exact same plane. So if you need to place your hands and your palms on your hips to feel the raise and the lower of your hips and making sure that your right hip is not a little bit more lopsided, it's not any lower than the left, feel free to do so, or you can keep your palms facing down next to your hips. Hips raise, right knee to right shoulder and lower. Go ahead and release down wherever you're at. Release the ball from underneath your right knee. Place the ball between your thighs. Feet are once again grounded into the earth. We're going to lift our hips, raise and lower for glute bridge. Your feet are hip width apart and parallel. Your shoulders remain pressed into the ground. Palms are pressed into the ground as well. You can also grab one leg in each hand if you'd like to add a wide arm chest press as you simultaneously lift your hips up. Squeezing your glutes. Squeeze your core, activating everything as you lift up even higher each time. Keeping it going. A few more here. With or without your wide arm chest press, hips raised, hips lower, core is engaged, navel pulled into your spine. Next one, hold the hips lifted. From here, you can keep the elbows slightly bent. We're going to squeeze the knees in towards one another, squeezing that ball, squeezing your thighs together. Your elbows stay nice and wide. You can also do a little chest pulse if you'd like, or you can just hold the arms still in that goalpost position. You can also just place your hands down towards your hips, or placing the weight on your hips and holding it there. Hips stay lifted, hips are higher, shoulders pressed into the ground. Your feet are planted firmly into the floor, hips higher, squeezing everything. Gaze is up towards the ceiling, keeping it going. Still going. And then releasing everything down. Set the weights off to the side. Set the ball off to the side as well. Draw your knees into your chest. Maybe rock and roll a few times from side to side. And then coming back to center. You can place your feet up towards the ceiling for happy baby. You can grab the back side of your thighs. You can also grab underneath your feet. And same thing, rolling side to side for a nice lower back stretch. And wherever you're at, come back to center when you're ready. Draw the feet together, curl up into a ball, and then rock and roll yourself a few times along your spine. As many times as you'd like, or as many times as you need to, before coming up to a standing position. Slowly, with your feet wider than your hips, cross your right arm across your body, gently grabbing at your forearm. Avoid your right wrist or your right elbow. Open and switch, crossing your left arm across your body. Open and draw your right hand behind your head, keeping your gaze lifted, chin lifted off of your chest. Open and switch, left hand behind your head. Nice tricep stretch. Go ahead and release everything down. Clasp your hands behind your back, chin and chest is lifted. You're welcome to roll your neck from side to side if you'd like, ever so gently, not forcing anything. When you're ready, coming back through center, release your hands out. Go ahead and deep bend in your knees, placing your right hand to the outer left ankle. You can draw your left arm up towards the ceiling. You can bring your gaze up towards your left fingertips or down towards your left toes. And then coming up to standing, switching sides. Left hand grabs the outside of your right knee with a deep bend in your knees. Right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. Gaze can be down towards your right toes or up towards your right fingertips. Coming back through center, a deep bend in both of your knees. Maybe bending and extending your knees here. And then go ahead and gently and slowly come on up to a standing position. Nice big inhale. And one more for good luck. Fantastic job, everyone. Thank you so very much. Make sure to drink plenty of water and stretch as much as you need to. Have a great rest of your day.